speaking of pop culture, Charlie D'Amelio. I mean, this just come as no surprise, but TikTok named her one of their top creators of 2020. And at just 16 years old, Charlie has really skyrocketed to fame over the last year. ET's Kelty Knight chatted with Charlie about that fame, pressure, and her recent meeting with Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez. And it's all things she writes about in her new book, essentially Charlie, the ultimate guide to keeping it real. Take a look.
I saw J-Lo and A-Rod not that long ago, and I thought that it was an intervention. I thought that they had planned this because it was my mom and dad and J-Lo and A-Rod, and they were just like, "Yeah, you just can't be caught up in what's going on that's wrong. It's just like, you really need to push forward." And I was like, "Who set this up?" Because I was in such a bad place for such a long time, letting everything that anyone said just bring me down. And then after it was over, I was like, okay, like seriously, who planned this? Like this could not have been whatever. And they were like, no, we just wanted you to come in and see our new offices. And I was like, this works out like this, that you said everything that I needed to hear. That is insane and just made me so happy.
I mean, how amazing is it to not only have a mentor in the business to help guide you, especially someone so young and also massively famous like Charlie, but then for that mentor to be Jennifer Lopez? Like, why do you think that is just a match made in heaven?
It's interesting, but they obviously they have quite a few decades that separate them in terms of their age. But when you break it down, they are both business women, they are both dancers, they are both people who are rooted in their family. Obviously, Charlie and her family are very close. They kind of do everything together, and so is J Lo and A Rod and that family. And I just feel like there's a lot of similarities here. I know a lot of people might think this is a random match, but if you remember, J Lo, has really taken Charlie under her wings within like the last year, especially. We, talked to Charlie at the Super Bowl, and she opened up about dancing with J Lo and that experience. J Lo also recruited her for a music video of hers. So really, there must be something very special about Charlie that I feel like J Lo sees and wants to help nurture, and I do feel like it comes from a loving place, and I think it's hugely beneficial to have someone who has an incredible amount of experience. I mean, I'm talking J Lo is in her early 50s, and Charlie's very young still, and J Lo is a master at this industry, knows the ins and outs and how to reign supreme, and there are some things that Charlie could learn from her.
And not to mention the fact that besides the fact that they are, massively famous and in this business,
Hmm.
but like J Lo's life has been under the public eye and her personal
Yeah.
life, and she has been at the mercy of public scrutiny, something that Charlie's experiencing now, And so I feel like that's a good person to latch onto and learn from, and learn how to
Hmm.
block out all the kind of negativity. And not to mention the fact that like Charlie herself is starting to pay it forward the way that J Lo has done that with
Yes.
for her. I mean, to celebrate the fact that she hit 100 million TikTok followers, Charlie donated $100,000 to dance charities and studios. So I feel like J Lo's already rubbing off on Charlie, and it's amazing to see. We actually have more of our interview with Charlie tonight on ET.